MAPS Air Museum volunteers restore and display historic airplanes. Their goal is to educate the public on the history of aviation and its impact on our world. On November the 11th each year, the members of the museum, along with the rest of America, pause to remember individuals who have served in the military. These individuals, called veterans, are all around you. You probably interact with veterans every day. They might be a teacher, the checkout lady at the grocery store, the mechanic who works on the family car, a government official, or even a close relative. The thing they all have in common is their willingness to serve, their belief that when the United States needed them, it was their duty to answer the call. That is why the volunteers at MAPS Air Museum feel Veterans Day is important.
Well, who doesn't think we should honor the vets? In my family, we lost my mother's brother, and he died for this country, and thousands and thousands of others like him. And I just think we should honor them. We should set aside not only one day, but try to keep them in mind all the time.
That's one of the greatest days in our country. It's what keeps our country going. It's the veterans that make our lives what they should be.
Veterans Day is very, very special to me. I'm a Navy brat and an Army mom. My dad was a navigator on a cruiser in the Pacific during World War II and retired a commander. And my son is in the Army. Well, he just retired from the Army, and he was in the first Gulf War and again in Afghanistan. So Veterans Day means so much to me, and the only thing I regret is that I didn't join the military too.
I think it's a great day to, a day to honor all veterans from the beginning of the country back, It's important to remember those who've served.
Well, I think it's important to honor the veterans. I mean, so many of them put their lives on the line for us, and it's just important to not forget them as they get older. There's a lot of them come back and out of service, and people kind of mistreat them, and they may have some injuries or scars from in the service, and I think we need to honor them because they're pretty important people.
I think of my husband being over in Vietnam and my daughter being born when he was away, and I think Veterans Day, it's important to acknowledge our veterans and keep in touch with them and their feelings.
Whenever I see a veteran, even though I am one, I see a veteran with a hat on, I will walk up to them, I will stand at attention, and I'll say, "Sir," and then I salute. Or I say, "Ma'am," if it's a lady. And I salute, and they salute back. I get some of the neatest reactions. I was in Florida at an air show, and there was a veteran sitting up in the stands, way up in the stands, and I stood down below and I yelled at him, "Sir!" Snapped to attention, saluted. By God, he stood up and saluted me back with a big grin on his face. So I like to celebrate veterans, even though I am one, but I celebrate other veterans because they did one hell of a job over the last 100 years or so. So it's kind of emotional that day for all of us.
Well, it's important because a lot of people don't understand the sacrifice that was made by a lot of men and young boys, as a matter of fact.
We wouldn't be here without the veterans that gave some gave all gave some, but we wouldn't be here if not for their diligence and thoughts of protecting ourselves.
I think it's one of the greatest holidays you could ever have to honor the people that put their lives on the line for our freedom and the freedom we enjoy today, and hopefully continue to enjoy for years to come.
Important to me because so many young men and women gave up their lives so that we could have freedom today.
It honors the soldiers who have fought and died for our freedoms and to protect our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, and our Bill of Rights.
Veterans Day is to honor the veterans who made the sacrifices that allow us and our children, our grandchildren to stay free.
Veterans Day is important to me, but I feel like it's more important for those family members who've lost someone or are dealing with the consequences of war or battles or injuries. So since I did not serve in a battle or wartime, I feel like I'm celebrating it more for them.
I grew up in the Second World War, and all my uncles were in. I had 3 of them in the Pacific Theater and 2 in the European, plus an aunt that was a WAC. So the whole family was off to war.
Now, Veteran Day to me means that we don't have our freedom if we didn't have our veterans to take care of us when we need them the most.
Veterans Day for me is the day that I spend some time remembering all the soldiers that I served with, under, or for throughout my 23 Army career. Very infrequently do we get the opportunity to think about those folks again, although I do keep track of them on Facebook. But it's a day of memories, that's for me.
Veterans Day is when we recognize everyone who served in our military, because veterans are one of the pillars that hold up what Americans cherish the most, our freedom.